6 people across multiple Charlotte neighborhoods say they were terrified when groups took over intersections and parking lots last weekend for dangerous street takeovers.
Take a look at your screen here. Investigators say cars were street racing and doing dangerous stunts, while other participants shot off fireworks and lit flares across all of these areas. At
least one of the street takeovers in northeast Charlotte escalated when shots were fired and a bystander was shot.
WBTV's Ron Lee just heard from Charlotte Mecklenburg Police, and he's getting answers on these investigations. He's joining us now live outside of police headquarters in Uptown Charlotte. So, Ron, what are investigators saying about all of this?
Well, Charlotte police tell me that this group actually came from an out-of-town event, many of them from as far away as places like New Jersey. But what they did to the people of Charlotte, some neighbors tell me, absolutely terrified them.
They came from this way. That's where I first saw the shots.
Delilah Walker-Tall, who lives just around the corner from the epicenter of the problem, says she was rattled awake by a sound she wasn't expecting.
In the morning, I heard gunshots from my bedroom window, so I kind of ducked a little bit.
That's when she looked out her front door and saw cars fleeing the scene.
I think they thought they could get out.
Before another barrage of gunfire.
Then that's when I heard pow, 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 pow again.
Charlotte Mecklenburg police say this past weekend, a huge group of cars drove from Rockingham Driveway to the Queen City in the dead of night.
To try to make our city their playground.
Police say proper intel let them know the group was on their way, and officers were able to push them along the best they could. In all, 5 streets were taken over. Many of the street racing sites were miles away from each other on different sides of Charlotte. Violators lit flares, shot off fireworks, and performed stunts to energize the crowd of about 400 people, according to police. One person who wasn't even involved was shot and rushed to the hospital.
Those officers followed these groups and took enforcement action as needed.
Cortavian Winston and Kwan Thompson were both picked up and charged with participating in the street racing takeover, along with fleeing to elude. Several cars were also seized, including one that was reported stolen.
We heard like a lot of gunshots.
Elisa Lorenzo had just wrapped up a family reunion when the bullets started flying.
It was pretty shocking that happened that day.
Now, as for the person that was shot that we mentioned earlier, I just checked in with CMPD, and they tell me that that person is out of danger and recovering. From Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Headquarters, I'm Ron Lee. WBTV, on your side.
Ron, thank you. Switching gears now, we're looking